Hello all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Soman and today I'm going to discuss about a driving license, right? Why you need a driving license before you travel to Canada. And obviously, if you're traveling with your family, then you need a car here, okay? Especially if you're planning to move to Nova Scotia or planning to move any other place other than Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal, right? Because apart from those major cities or big cities, if you are traveling to east coast of Canada or any other place, right, the public transport, I would say that is not that great, okay, if I compare with Toronto, because I was in Toronto for 4 years and I never bought a car. I never thought I need a car while I was staying in Toronto for 4 years, because the public transport in Toronto is really great. It's world class, I would say. It's very good, I would say. Well, not world class, but I'd say very good, right? It's very efficient. But in this part of the world, right, if you are coming here to Nova Scotia or east coast of Canada, then it's unfortunately not that great, okay? It's not that efficient. So you need to have a car if you want to live a decent life here, especially if you're coming with your family, with your kids, okay? Just imagine here 6 months or 7 months, right? Most of the time of the year it is winter here, it is cold here, and although this province or this place is comparatively warm comparing with other places in Canada, but still still it is cold. And if you are coming for very first time, then probably it would be a kind of a new experience for you, right? How to live in harsh winter, -10, -20, -30. Even this year, this year, just few days back, I faced -40 up to -40, 42, and -40, -42 is very cold. It's very cold. You will be freezing. You'll be freezing. If you are staying outside for maybe more than 5 or 10 minutes, you need proper equipment and everything. So my point is, if you are traveling here with your family, with your kids, obviously you need to live a good life, right? You need to buy grocery, you need to buy daily essentials. Even if you are single, then also these are very common things, right? And sometimes you do need to visit doctor, you need to buy medicines, right? You need to that on our daily life, whatever we need, right? Whatever the essentials that we need, that for that purpose you need to go out, right? Even though if you are doing remote work, right? Let's say because of this COVID situation, and now in this new equation, most of the people, they are working remotely, right? Work from home. So people might think I'm going to work from home, I might not need a car. But the problem is, even if you are working from home, then also, again, my video is especially for for those who are coming here with family. If you are not coming with family, then probably you might not need a car, okay? But again, if you want to enjoy the outdoor, if you want to go out, if you want to be independent, then you need a car here in this part of the world, right? See, it's very different, how you are staying or how we live in our country and in this country. In this country, car is not a luxury. In this country, having a car is a necessity, okay? Here you will not get a single person that who is over 17 years old and who don't know how to drive. You will not get it, because it's a necessity here. If you want to survive in this cold winter, if you want to survive in this American continent, then you need to know how to drive, because that's a part of life. Back in our country, still, maybe I would say, maybe 20 or 30% people know how to drive, right? Most of the people, they don't know how to drive. My parents, they don't know how to drive. They always depends on a driver. If they need to go somewhere, they will bring the driver, they will call the driver will come, and then my parents will go from one place to another place, right? And that is the case for most of the people. Even I also didn't know driving till I was 20, I guess. Yeah, 20. But luckily I got to know how to drive because that was my passion. I wanted to drive, but that's a different story, right? So again, that was not a necessary, that was not a necessity for me to learn how to drive, right? That was kind of, you can say, a hobby for me. It was a hobby. I wanted to know how to drive, or maybe sometimes it's called luxury. If you have affordability, if you can afford in your country, then only you will buy a car, right? Otherwise not. Just tell me one thing, what is the percentage of people those are owning a car in our country? Very less, right? Very less, I would say. But here, 100%, I would not say 100%, maybe 99%. 99% people have car, right? No matter where they work, even if they work as a janitor, even they work as a very maybe a lower income group, whatever, they need a car, because if they want to live, that is a necessity. Okay, so here car is a necessity, car is not a luxury. Luxury is when maybe you are dreaming to own a BMW or Mercedes. Even those are also very much affordable here, right? Because here the whole equation is something different. Okay, I would tell that in my some other video why I think that, owning a Toyota, I'm owning a Toyota RAV4, this is my car, and owning a BMW X5, probably almost similar here. It's not that difficult, but that is a topic for different video probably. But what I'm saying, if you're coming here in Canada with your family, you need a car, because the problem is here. First of all, the first point is public transport is not that great. Okay, it's not that efficient. If you need to travel maybe 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, it might take you 1 hour to reach that place. Okay, and here, wherever you go, let's say a supermarket if you are going, or Walmart you are going, or Costco you are going, right? So there, the bus stop, right, from the bus stop to the supermarket is minimum 700 meters or 800 meters away. It is a walking distance. Here everything is planned like that. Okay, the bus stop is in the street. From there you need to take the pavement and you need to walk uphill, sometime downhill, again uphill, and maybe 500-600 meters. So just imagine, if it is minus 20 degree outside, if you have a kids and everyone, your spouse and your kids are walking uphill during minus 20 for your grocery, and then you are going inside a supermarket. The supermarket itself is very big, right? The Walmart itself is very big, and if you want to buy your essentials, it might take another half an hour probably, or maybe another 45 minutes, right? Lots of items are there, lots of aisles are there, right? You need to find where that item is, and that is also another maybe 1 kilometer walk. I'm just telling you in approximate, maybe more than that, right? And then just imagine, 500 meters outside, 1 kilometer inside, and again 500 meter outside, right? Again, after buying your grocery and all those things, you are going outside to catch a bus, and then again in minus 20, again you are walking either uphill or downhill with your kids. It's very difficult, friend. I'm telling you, it's very difficult. I'm telling you from my own experience. Although I said I was in Canada, I was in Toronto for 4 years, I never own a car. I just used to rent a car over the weekend if I need to travel somewhere, but I never bought a car in Toronto before. But then, the very first time when I came here, my elder kid was almost a year, okay? He was 12 months or 13 months old. And that time, I remember that time it was minus 25, minus 30, and I never have faced that climate in my life ever. And just imagine, in that climate, I used to take my son, and my son, the problem was, no matter, whatever I try, he never sits on his stroller or param. He never sits. He always come to my, I need to hold him everywhere, whenever I go somewhere. So that was one of the problem for me. So I was carrying my son, right? And on the other hand, my wife is carrying some grocery. I was carrying some grocery. Although grocery bag is also there. That is also kind of stroller. It has wheel behind, so that you can simply drag and pull that bag. Okay, it's called grocery bag. It's a kind of stroller. Okay, but still, with 10, maybe 5 kg potato, 10 kg rice, and all those heavy items. If you are pulling those and something in your hand, and then you are carrying your kids, minus 20, minus 25 outside, you are walking uphill 500 meters, 700 meters just to catch a bus, and then after going into the bus stop, there is no cover or there is no such heating system in the bus stop. In most of the bus stops, you are simply standing in cold minus 20, minus 25, and bus is coming late probably. Just think about that situation. It's very horrible, I'm telling you, friend. From my own experience, I'm telling you. The first time I faced that, first time it was very horrible for me. Like, my kid was like, he was shivering, like, out of cold. I was also shivering, because no matter what you have wear, right? Like, if it is minus 25, minus 20 outside, along with chill wind, right? It's very difficult to stand outside for 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, right? Continuously. It's very difficult, I'm telling you. So to avoid those kind of situations, you need a car. And again, in Toronto, since, as I said, like, the public transport system was quite efficient, within 15-20 minutes or half an hour, like, I would get a bus, I would onboard into a bus, and I'll go to my home. But here the problem is that is not that efficient. Now think about that, the same situation, right? You are with your kids, with lots of grocery items and lots of other items, you and your spouse standing in a bus stand, and that is minus 20, minus 25 degrees centigrade outside, and bus will be coming in next 45 minutes. Let's imagine, like, sometime it happens, right? Your bus is cancelled and you need to wait for your next bus, and that is 45 minutes. 45 minutes standing in that cold winter. Very difficult, friend. Very difficult. And you need to avoid that. You should avoid that if you can. So that's why you need a car. That's why it's a necessity, right? One more classic example I'll give you. Let's say, like, it happened with me, okay? And luckily that time I rented a car over the weekend, and one night around midnight, 12 or 1 in the midnight, my kid, again my son, he started vomiting, okay? He started vomiting, and in every 5 minutes he was just throwing out. And at one point of time, nothing was coming out, but he was just throwing out, and we were horrible. Like, it was a terrible experience for us, and we were scared. What happened to my kid? Then I had to take him to the hospital immediately. Okay. Luckily that time, that was a Sunday, I guess, and that time I rented a car. Then I took my car and I drove him to hospital in 10-15 minutes, and immediately he got the attention from doctor and nurses, and he got the treatment. Within 2 hours, they just released us. So, but imagine if that night, if I didn't have a rented car, what was my option? My only option was Uber or Lyft, right? And that time, if no Uber was available during that time, in that area, what I would have done? Public transport during midnight? Are you kidding me? It's not possible. It's not possible, friends. So that is also one of the classic example I'm just giving you. You need a car. Again, my experience was from Toronto, where I'm telling again and again, public transport system is far efficient. But in this part of the world, or like other part of the world, not other part of the world, not the other part of the Canada, apart from Vancouver, Montreal and Toronto. If you are living anywhere else, especially if you have kids, you need a car. Okay, you always have to be prepared. And after that COVID situation, here situation is not that good, especially from medical perspective. Okay, all the provinces has shortage of doctors. Okay, doctor and nurses are not quietly available, and if you are going to emergency, I had another video, you can see that I went to emergency with my son, and there I had to wait for 6 or 7 hours, I guess, and just for basic treatment, just for very basic treatment. Okay, so this is the reality right now in Canada. So you have to be out of that. So if you are coming to Canada for very first time, better you plan to buy a car. Okay, not necessarily you need to buy a $40,000 or $50,000 car. You can buy a car within maybe $10,000 also, $10,000, $15,000. You can buy a good vehicle, good used vehicle. And here people maintain their vehicles, right? Here again, the equation is something different. I will come up with some other video why I think a $10,000 vehicle, $10,000 vehicle is good enough for you to start your life here. I'll come up with some other video. Please watch this sequence of videos. I'll come up with that. But what I'm saying, if you're coming to Canada, you have to keep in mind that you need to buy a car within a month or within a couple of months, right? And for that you need a driving license. And if you already have a driving license from your country, just bring that original license. Along with that, you just bring the driving extract that you will get from your RTO or motor vehicle office, right? The extract is nothing, that's your driving history. They will just official document where you're when you first started driving, and all those things will be mentioned there. And you need to come here, you need to submit that document into local RTO or local office, and then you need to give a writing exam, and immediately you can give a road test to get your driving license. So within 15 days you will get your driving license. I mean, I'm just giving an example, within 7 or 15 days you can book your exam and you will be eligible to drive if you know how to drive. So car is a necessity here, it's not a luxury, friend. And if you are planning to move here, then if you know driving, it's well and good. If you don't know driving, my advice is take some time, drive, how to drive, and take your driving license there in your country, because I know it's very easy to get a driving license in my country. It's not that easy here, trust me, friend. I'm driving for almost 20 years now, okay? But first time when I went for my driving test in Ontario, they got me failed. I was failed in my first attempt. Can you imagine that? That time I was having 16 years of driving experience in India. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to drive in India, I'm telling you, okay? Here everything is so disciplined. So, everyone will keep their lane, and everything is so systematic. But in India, how those Toto driver, auto driver or rickshaw driver, they drive, right? They don't give a seat. So anyway, so it's very difficult to drive there. But if you know driving, after that also I was failed in my first attempt, my first driving exam in Toronto, I can remember. So anything can happen. So you need to know how to drive. So it's better before coming to Canada, it is my humble request, know how to drive and take your driving lessons, and then plan your travel to Canada. At least you or your spouse, at least one person should know how to drive. Okay? Anyway, so that's it for today. If you have any question, you can ask me. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and please do subscribe our channel. Thank you.